This is the true story.
This is the true story of guitar YouTubers.
This is the true story of guitar YouTubers!
Pick to live in a guitar house.
Unbox together.
Demo together. Play together.
To find out what happens when
people stop being guitar
And start being house.
And start being house.
Guitar House.
Guitar House!
Guitar House! Guitar House!
Guitar House is brought to you with support from Sweetwater,
Diadario.
Chase Bliss.
And big ear pedals.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Mike. Hope you're happy, healthy, and safe. And I'm here at Ryan's house with my friend Ryan. Ryan, it's his house.
This is my house.
This is his
But
house.
for a couple days, it's a guitar house.
It's a guitar house.
It's a guitar house. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal, they said.
It was a very big deal. Ryan has done so much work that I think he's fraying mentally. I think he's
I'm
lost
falling
it.
apart. I am falling apart right now.
Oh my God. But I'm excited to be here, and we're going to talk about springs.
Oh my gosh. So many springs.
Now, if you've watched my American Pro 2 review, you will know that there is a little bit of a snag with the American Pro in that if you use heavy strings like 11s or above, the spring is rather inadequate for that job. And so when you use the vibrato, it just bottoms out immediately.
It stops like that. It is stopped right here. This is not the Panorama,
This is not the Panorama. This is a Japanese vibrato.
but that is exactly what it does. Is it
does
bottoms
stop.
out right about there. I think it's because the spring that came in this MIJ
is also a little weak.
is a little bit weak, which is
I hear
the
ya.
issue. And with the Panorama, they changed things about it mechanically as well. We don't know how much that contributes, or if it really just is a weak spring.
Could be. Worthy of note that it is the same spring that comes in the American Vintage reissues, so I would gather that it is something mechanical that's putting a lot more force on the spring. But Ryan has gone to the mat and spent the last 2 months.
Something like that. I've honestly probably spent like over $100 chasing springs.
He's been making his own springs. Look how, yeah, put my hand there.
That's
Move me,
one of
Daddy.
them. That's one of them. This is the other. I hand wound springs to see if I could do it because it's impossible to find springs.
Finding springs with the proper tension is really, really hard.
Even just the proper sizes, like finding the right sizes. Like people think you can just walk into a hardware store and find them. No.
Big dork, why don't you just go to the spring store? Nope. Doesn't work like that.
Which is funny because that is my big criticism of a lot of the comments that I got when I did my own video on this. And I'm sure you got comments like that. Oh, just go to the spring store.
Just go get a spring.
Go to Home Depot or Lowe's. I ended up at a store and bought a spring off the shelf that started leading me in a hopeful direction.
Did it feel like when you were a kid and you went to the toy store and you got a fresh new toy? You got your Power Ranger or your April O'Neil action figure that my parents never let me have
Right.
because I couldn't play with dolls. Oh, I'm gonna get so mad about this.
You
if I
can
keep
do it
talking
right
about
now, Mike. You can buy whatever you want from your childhood off of eBay. And a lot of it is not expensive.
That's actually a really good point.
I was looking at Dino Riders figurines a while back.
I remember those.
I loved Dino Riders. So, how off topic do we want to stay?
Now, this is a Dino Riders video. Back to springs.
So anyways, subscriber to my channel and friend of the show, Robert, suggested a shop that is not far from my house that is kind of like meant to be a business to contractor business sort of shop, but anyone can shop there. And they have everything, like every nut and bolt you could ever imagine.
I want to go to there.
And and they have these springs which I had seen online called die springs. They're completely different from a normal wound spring that you would find inside of here. Like not, my home wound spring here that's made out of round wire.
It's bespoke and quaint.
Yes. It's very handmade.
The diameters aren't consistent. This is wonderful. It's
If
better
you
than I
want to
did.
take one of those home as a keepsake, you are welcome to.
I'll put this in my pocket right now.
But these are totally different because it's not a wound piece of wire. It's die cut out of a piece of metal. They're incredibly consistent within their own models. So every spring is going to react the same. It's not going to be like, oh, this metal's different, or this wind is different, or this wire width is different. They're all the same.
Interesting.
Because it is mechanically cut out of a chunk of metal.
That's really interesting.
So I found these and I'm like, whoa, it's the perfect diameter and length, the inside diameter is not wide enough to fit all the way on the little cup thimble thing.
So how did you address that?
It just kind of rests onto it. It fits like halfway down the thimble, but it's still attached appropriately. It's not going to go anywhere. It just doesn't go as deep. But I thought this was a little bit too stiff. And the nice thing about this, the issue with these is the spring bottoms out because all the coils collapse on each other.
Yeah.
This does not collapse because it's square and it's firmer. The coils themselves are firmer. And so I was messing around with this. Let me get my rig.
That's very cool.
So I made this rig inspired by your Jazzmaster that you had made with the hole in it, so you can swap stuff out. But I just made, like a lap steel nonsense thing here.
This is rad as hell.
In half an hour out of scrap wood, and I've got a Tysco style bridge here, and I have one of those slide-in aftermarket slide string risers as the nut. But it's the correct scale for a Jazzmaster, and everything's lined up just right, and it gives me room to swap out springs in here. I mean, it was your idea. I just did it on junk wood.
It's so impressive. And do you know if this is tone wood? Does this sound just like a Telecaster?
Well, this is Douglas fir down here, and I'm pretty sure that this is some variety of naughty pine. You get that
naughty pine.
But anyways, so the journey. Oh shoot! I hit the light. The journey I went on was this green one is too stiff for me.
Okay.
I didn't like the way it felt when I had it in here, so it was the lightest one I could find at that store. Everything was heavier past that. So I got a couple of them and I started doing tests, and I ended up drilling out the core of this one. As you can see, I've drilled it out so it is wider inside now, which means it fits all the way on that thimble cup.
And did that change its tension?
It did. It changed how springy
it squishes quite a bit more.
Yeah, you're a strong young pup. You test those out.
Okay. Oh, that's
It's
way
actually
less firm.
Quite a lot better, but it still doesn't. It doesn't even get close to collapsing all the way when it's inside this rig with the Panorama.
That is such a good point because it's cut from metal instead of formed with a round piece of blank. That it has a far less chance of collapsing in on itself.
Also because they're square, they're not round,
and they fit together.
They fit together. So this worked really well. I haven't tested it in an actual guitar. I tested it in this, and it felt really nice. And I was like, surely there must be a lighter gauge of this. So I got on eBay and I found a yellow one. We've got a green one.
Yes.
I've got a red one and a blue one here that are much heavier.
They're so heavy duty.
So I'm not even gonna try them. But the yellow one is when we pull it out to put it in the actual guitar, you'll see how it compares. Is quite a bit lighter. And let me show you this. I'm gonna depress the bar all the way to this pseudo guitar body here. And look at that, the spring still does not collapse on itself.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's still got plenty of room, and it's nice and light, and it feels fluttery. Still, I haven't tried it in the guitar, in an actual playable guitar, but that feels nice to me.
Let's pop this down. Let's pop this down on the bench, and let's have a firmness test. This rig is so cool. I love this.
Your rig is better. This is just me trying to do your rig.
This is rad as hell. I love it. And you can play slide on it.
I usually have a slide somewhere. I don't know where it is. It just needs a pickup to be a slide guitar. The bridge kind of rattles and buzzes, but the point wasn't to have a playable guitar. It was to have the correct tension and scale length and everything like that.
So you've got the vibrato set correctly too. You've got the lock engaged.
I knew that you were going to be here. You know,
you knew I was going to be here. So this is the Panorama. So let's test the spring. I'm really excited to feel it and compare it. I brought my Jag, which is going to feel different because Jags are shorter. But I brought my Jag with the Mastery. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But we're going to compare it to what the Mastery's got going on. But yeah, I'm really excited to feel this. Oh, see, that feels like home.
It feels good, right? So
that actually does feel really
I'll send you a link to that spring when you're ready to publish this video so people can buy that. I'll probably make my own video too so that I can get my own affiliate links going.
A point of clarification, did you have to drill this one out to fit the spindle underneath?
I did not drill it out at all. You can see it is resting above the spindle ever so slightly. But it is still on the spindle. It is fully on the spindle. It's not going to pop off or anything. It's secure. There's nothing wrong with that.
You can see that it is wearing away just a little bit. Which is concerning.
It's probably gonna scrape at the thimble. So if you have, vintage trim and you don't want to mess up the parts, either drill this out or use a different thimble.
But this, I'm shocked. I'm honestly surprised by how good that feels.
It feels legit.
No, I can feel the. Do you hear that? That little.
He's gonna be so particular.
Well, because
You have
because
to be.
it's my nature.
It's you. It's you.
So when that happens on an offset vibrato, it's usually there being some space that's not like it's not being firmly pressed. So I wonder if we get it down the whole way on the spindle, if that'll alleviate, or it could just be.
These are they're ground fairly flat at the top. Is that the issue?
Maybe, but maybe not, because the original spring would also have a flat top.
Right.
That'll take some.
Or maybe it just doesn't fit in the hole quite right.
Maybe
they might still need some sort of aftermarket modification with these springs to make them ideal.
I wonder if the coating, too.
It might be.
Is this powder coated?
It's some sort of like plastic coat. Like you can see on the one that I drilled out, just the fact of I had it clamped between two pieces of wood, and that wore off the finish. You could also blowtorch it off, which might change the tension of it. So maybe don't do that. That's
very cool. Ryan, I'm so impressed that you went that far with it. I was just stuck looking at regular old valve springs, but you found this really interesting solution.
It's impossible to track down actual springs. Like
It's really tough.
I was shopping on spring sites where you put in. I was using calipers to measure spring dimensions and like do all the math to figure out the spring rate and things like that. I learned all the terminology, and no spring sites that are built to sell springs had anything in stock that even approached like what came with this trim. Not what I wanted to experiment with, but just what came with it. And to get custom springs that I could experiment with, I'd have to do minimum orders of like $500 or something like that. Just to try an idea.
And so what is the per unit cost of this spring?
Well, you got to get it on eBay. So it gets on the slow boat. It literally showed up 2 days before. I thought it was going to show up next week. So the only reason we're filming is because it got here early. But it took about a month to ship here.
How much did it cost?
Like $4.
Oh, that's a lot more than I thought it would. Okay, you could only get like 130 for $500?
Something like that.
Okay. I'm also terrible at math. I can't visualize numbers. So that's very interesting. I had another question.
I think I bought these local, the green ones. Where am I on the camera? It doesn't matter. I bought the local green ones, I think, for like $3.50 each or something like that.
This is so cool. Folks, we may have a solution for the American Pro problem.
So if you're down for it, let's swap it in and change strings on the M Pro.
Let's do it. How's that feel compared to the Mastery? Different scale length, but you tell me what you think. I feel like this is a little tighter.
That's
still.
firmer.
Just a little bit.
I like a loose wobbly. I like
a taut spring.
He likes it taut. You might like the green one.
He likes it loose, and I like it tight.
I'll let you take this home with you, the one that I drilled out, if you want to try that out. And I'll let you take the stock one too, and you can try those in your rig at home.
I'm going home with prizes.
I feel bad for these strings that I'm wasting on this thing, but
well, it's a good thing that we're sponsored by D'Addario. That's right.
We'll say it two different ways.
D'Addario.
Oh, we said it the same way.
D'Addario. D'Addario strings. If you need strings, D'Addario's got them. It's so nice of you to sacrifice the Pro to science for so long.
What's funny is Robert, who I mentioned earlier, who suggested the shop where I bought those springs, he went out and bought a second Panorama Vibrato to do his own tests.
Robert, well done.
He was gonna donate it to me to do my own tests. I was like, oh, I've already taken it off my guitar to do tests.
God, I can't imagine that he probably paid a lot for the Panorama, didn't he?
Yeah,
like 120?
Yeah, there's something like that. They were selling them at Pitbull.
Oh wait, aren't they 210? Aren't they more than the Mastery and the Descendant?
No, I think they are in the 100s.
I'll have to look at that price.
I mean, this is making history.
We're making history right now.
Like putting a non-normal spring in a Fender Vibrato unit and solving potentially what we could call a manufacturer's defect. I don't know. Is that a strong way to describe it?
I in my video I struggled to call it that because it felt very clear to me that this guitar was designed with lighter strings, if not in mind, at least tested with them. And so,
which honestly, like, I mean, to make a Jazzmaster that needs lighter springs is offensive to, you know, the surf guitarists out there and stuff like that.
for sure, when you're playing like 12s and 14s,
But this guitar is more modern. It's more aimed at modern players. And so many of the issues that many people have had over the years with offsets, especially Jazzmasters, Jags, etc., is that they don't take light gauge strings well.
Yeah.
Like
it takes extra work.
There's rattling, there's buzzing, there's all sorts of issues. Then, you know, intermastery bridges and things like that to solve the issue. And so the fact that they built it around lighter gauge strings is not really...
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's upsetting that it doesn't work as easily with heavy strings, but it's not a bad thing.
It is a feature, but it's also a flaw. So it's hard to like figure out what to call it.
Depends on the player. If you use light strings, the Pro is going to work just fine for you, I think. With heavy gauges like what I use on my Jag, I've got 11 to 54 right now. I think I'm going to go up to a 12 set. So the Pro Vibrato doesn't work for me.
We're going to use a set of D'Addario XT 11s here. My preferred. This is what I've
the
been
XTs
using.
are great.
I've been using this gauge and this brand on all my guitars for like years now, and I love them.
You know what I love about the XTs?
What do you love about the XT?
Pre-soldered ball ends.
Ooh.
Which is a thing that I do even on brands that I don't have those issues with. String breakage being one, which is frequently common with the Fender offset vibrato because of the way the strings attach. They can sometimes unravel, but these come pre-soldered at the ball end, and that makes them last forever. And they're a pretty good feeling string.
I actually didn't know that, and now that you've pointed out, I see it.
You see it clearly.
I can see it clearly now.
Isn't it beautiful? Get a load of my technique.
There's your wound and your G. I'm going to check your balls here, Mike.
Those pre-soldered ends. That rules. And you can even see there's a little glob of solder right up here, letting you know the work has been done for you. Thank you.
So going back to
D'Addario.
the Hallmark, when I first got the Hallmark, like within the first week, I had like unwound some of my strings, and I was super bummed about it. So I started soldering them myself. Mm-hmm. And then when I started using these strings, I just was like, oh, I haven't been having this problem for a while. I wonder why.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, when I went on tour, I soldered 15 sets of strings just to be safe. I do it religiously before I restring any of my guitars, no matter what brand. Like,
See, now
I just love the way to do it.
I'm feeling self-conscious because there's an actual guitar tech sitting next to me. Too many whines? Just enough? You're not like one of those nodding people, are you, where you nod it?
Not on offsets, but most offsets have Clouson style tuners with split shafts.
Right. Oh, split
Posts.
shaft. Yeah.
So, yeah, two is probably good on that. Do you remember that I replaced mine with Clousons because I can't stand tuning the tiny ones?
Yeah.
Of the staggered tuner sets? Yeah, don't like them. But so
I'm fine with them.
That's plenty.
I'm just wondering if I'm being judged silently while I'm
No
doing it. So I
judgment.
wanted to make it
Only love.
out in the open.
Only love. That's right, Ryan.
I should probably switch seats with you and let you do this. You do. Okay, let's switch.
I have to. You're gonna make me string staggered tuners.
I'm so self-conscious doing this with you watching.
I don't have to look at you. Here's how a pro does it, where he fucks it up immediately.
I'd rather have you mess it up and explain how you messed it up than you sit there silently watching me mess it up and judging me.
I want to be consistent. You didn't do any over-under. Okay. We're just going to go straight down the shaft.
Now, I don't do tricks. I don't do knots. I don't do any sort of like tying tricks or anything like that. I've never felt the need to. But Mike has this way of breaking in strings too, which is impressive to me. Like I always do this thing where like I stretch it down like that. But I was watching Mike do this thing where he's twisting knobs and stuff.
I do it that way, and if you're yelling in the comments, Go ahead. I don't check them. Oh, see, I hate staggered tuners so much. And they're all 4 staggered the same height.
Yeah.
So I can only get 1.5 around this.
See,
I'm nervous. This is a horrible idea, Ryan.
I could have been doing it, and you would have been sitting there like, oh, I can't believe he's doing it that way, which is why I'm making you do
See,
it.
that's not enough. I hate staggered tuners so much. Those that love staggered tuners, more power to you. I cannot.
I honestly have no feelings for or against them. Like, it solves a problem that I've never thought is a problem. It's like I've never noticed a problem, but I also don't like sit there like thinking about details like that.
Really do like the XTs. What are you doing?
A little dance.
You should wear this as a belt buckle. That would be a fashion statement.
As a necktie.
A bolo.
A bolo. Big old bolo.
Bolo!
You only bowl once. Bolo tie.
So when I'm working with tuners that are enclosed like this, that aren't that don't have the split on top like a Kluson, I always measure using my middle finger. And like if I'm stringing a Gibson, I will pull up about that much and kink the string and then start winding, and that usually gives me exactly what I need. But I have to think so much harder about these. I think I'm just going to rest right on the 12th fret and hope that that's the correct amount.
The fact that you measure it all puts you light years ahead of what I do. I just put them on there and wind them up.
Don't! I'm working here! Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked. Do you like your string ends to be flying free?
Yeah. No, cut them.
You don't do the freak flag.
I'm actually against. It's one of the few preferences I have. When I see people with their strings flopping all wild at the end, I judge them silently and loudly, vocally. I judge them vocally.
It's the reason that I wear glasses. I've actually got better than 20/20 vision, but I got poked in the eye once by a stray string.
That's the nightmare. Sometimes I put
That's
on...
how I became Joker-fied. You want to know how I got these glasses? My father
had an old Martin. And I said, why not change these strings for my father, for his birthday?
For my father. And I said, Daddy. Now, who is that? Who is... Oh, is that the bridge?
It might be the bridge.
Something's creaking a little bit.
I took the nylon inserts out because I wanted to see what it would be like.
Where
it
is
might
that
be
coming from?
clanking somewhere.
Now, I will say that the feel... Oh, it still does bottom out a little bit, doesn't it?
No, it's going all the way.
Oh.
That's all the way.
Oh, maybe you touched the bridge or something. That feels substantially
Do you think
better.
it's in tune?
I'll work the spring in.
So I don't know if the springs break in at all or if they change as you use them.
Before we check to see how close I was, I normally tune by ear naturally to E flat.
Okay.
So we'll see how close
You've got
I
the
am.
Peterson down there. Is it working?
I'm in D sharp, E flat. It sounds better to me.
I like an E flat tuning every now and then.
Thank you, Weezers. Thank you, Smashing Pumpkins.
What? He's something. He's going to come home. Yeah, it's come on. Photobomb us.
Where is that? Is that a saddle?
I have no idea, man.
That's
Saddle
a saddle.
issue.
Mike's going to find all the issues with my guitar setup.
Oh, man.
So we swapped the spring in
Hand
this.
me.
Oops.
Hand me. I need my nut files.
I see it.
I got a nut. Why did I say that? Cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that. Hey, Jason.
Hey.
How's it going, bro?
So
going?
the original spring in this bottomed out with heavier strings. And so I've been on a journey to find new springs for it. I even hand wound my own springs, which was a disaster. They don't work.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Mike has a video on that.
Much better. On doing what?
Oh, no, on this, like with the Panorama.
Yeah.
Buddy, you're part of part 2.
Oh!
So I found these springs, which are totally different, and this one I drilled out to modify it and stuff. And then I found a yellow one, so we just installed the yellow one in there, which is lighter.
That is an issue. What is it?
Something is clicking.
Something is clicking internally.
That'll be another video. What is the click?
Wait, we gotta go back. But it feels way better, and it works. It doesn't bottom out. It's got the
How
proper.
are you making it click?
Because I.
Oh, you're using it in a way that I'll never use it.
Maybe it is
something with
the.
the
I think
bridge.
it's the bridge. Because if I lift the strings off.
It's because
effect.
I took those nylon inserts out.
No, that's the best way to live. It's not doing it, so it's got to be the bridge somehow.
Something is clicking on the bridge.
Oh. Nope.
It sounds like it's coming from right here.
It does sound like that, but sometimes. Okay, so work in progress, but the spring works a lot better.
It feels decent.
It actually does.
I'll have to spend some time with it to see how I feel. Like if I have preference.
Why don't you get
for
in
it.
on here?
Yeah, you wiggle,
Jason, what do you think
wiggle
of
that
that?
stick, Jason?
Oh, it feels decent. It's
It's got some tension.
yeah, it's got some.
Jason, how, did you get your hands on an Amp Pro 2?
Yes.
And what was your experience with it?
That's part of the reason I returned it was because, to be honest, it was the trim system. A lot of the bendy type stuff that I did with the heavier strings that I played just was not. Just
wasn't getting there.
No, it was
It's
not.
the heavier strings was the problem.
Yeah, but that feels good.
So these are 11s on here.
Oh, that's how. They usually use like 10 to 52s, and even then, that was like the
These are 11s to 49s.
Yeah, so we're reversed.
Split the difference.
So remind me, the Amp Pro with 9s could dip to F sharp?
That's what I measured, but I also don't think I had it set up correctly the way you would, where you flip
Okay.
that on and it's
So the trem lock, and it's still working
yeah.
working perfectly.
So
What do we got?
I have a theory that lighter strings do give you more range,
Probably.
but this goes down to A now, right?
Well, let's. You're saying A. What do you think it's going to go down to?
I'm gonna go with A.
When I
I'm gonna
had
go
it-
G sharp.
When I had it on the testing rig, I got it down to A. I'll say that.
Let's try G sharp. Come on, no whammy, no whammy. A.
My
Just
rig
a
works.
little bit lower than A.
My rig works.
Heck yeah.
I feel so good about that.
That's a much better feeling spring. That's a much better spring than what comes stock on this. It feels great. Whatever this clicking is, that notwithstanding,
That's a whole
that
other
feels
story.
way better.
The clicking is something else. We don't know what that is yet.
Could you hand me my Jag?
Yes.
I wanna. And again, scale length is different, so it's
Sure.
gonna feel a little different, but actually, I mean, yes, Jag, Jazzmaster, but that's so similar. I would say that this feels a little bit more taut. Again, could be the scale length, but
Yeah, it does feel a little firmer, doesn't it?
yeah, which I like. I like a good firm spring. What do you think, Jason?
We're just three men in a garage touching each other's wiggle sticks.
Just wiggling our sticks
Oh, that's
the
not
way
good.
God intended.
Yeah.
That's very cool, Ryan.
I found a spring!
He did it,
And it's
I was
yellow.
here for this.
and it's yellow.
And I wish you could see the yellow spring. Pull up your picture. Where's your phone?
My phone's over there.
Show him the picture of the spring. I want him
me
to
see
see
how yellow this
how yellow this spring really is.
And it was all yellow. Whoa.
Oh, this is the Coldplay spring for sure.
Cold Prey.
This is the Coldplay spring for sure. There's a
at that.
clean cut for you,
That's
Mike.
yellow.
It's yellow, right?
That is
maybe
yellow.
even goldenrod, really. If you
Yeah, it's it's a good yellow. It's not
That's
just
like-
yellow. It's a
fucking school bus yellow.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
school bus.
cheerful yellow.
Like if you, that's like Magic School Bus levels of yellow.
Oh, I need a Miss Frizzle coat. This rules, Ryan. I think
Let's
I
plug
think
it
you
in and
done
play
did
it.
Let's plug it in and play. Plug and play.
Sweet. Actually, I came in for the Jag. We're over there. I was like, oh,
Oh, go get it. That definitely needs new strings.
oh.
It's
Do you want to
very
use this
rusty.
one? Go for it.
Thank you. I will be right back. Plug it into the AC.
That's the magic of Guitar House. There's a Jaguar for everyone.
There's a Jag for everyone. Guitar House, where dreams and Jags come true.
So you do the honors, man.
Oh,
You're the guy. This is your video.
hey, thank you so much. You ever see that SNL sketch? Why is there no signal?
Because of the tuner. What were they doing in here?
Do me a favor. Take that treble. You see it's a 10? Yeah. Put that shit at 4. We need to figure out that knocking, but the vibrato feels so much better. So much better.
I wonder if I'm even going to find that knocking with my style of using that. Because, like, honestly, I don't even dive this thing. I do little fluttery things. Like, that's kind of just what I do.
If you got a light touch.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to find that knocking.
Probably gonna have
Oh, there it is.
There it is. You found the knock.
Ooh, yeah.
I wonder if it's the man.
It
We're
might
gonna
be,
work on that later.
it might be the spring doing something weird.
As I said before, the spring was digging in. Maybe it's shifting on that little channel that it's rubbed in the brass.
I don't know.
Could be.
Huh. But yeah, I very rarely do that. I might do like a that sort of thing.
That's my favorite sound in the world.
But dude, that feels soft. I like that.
It feels the way it should. That's a really good spring. That's a really good spring, Ryan. You got an affiliate link for this
I
spring
will.
company?
I'll send you. No, I'll have the eBay link, but eBay affiliates are almost worthless.
They are worthless.
It's 1%. It's nice to have the thought, like, oh hey, I might make money if I sell.
Hey,
this.
thanks.
But
Thanks, eBay.
it's a $4 spring.
You dinosaur.
Looking forward to my 1% of $4.
Oh, please, Daddy.
It's more about like helping the Jazzmaster loving community out there and trying to find a solution to this problem.
It's about giving back. That rips. It feels great. It feels really good.
Like I'm almost never gonna encounter that knock. I do want to solve that knock now.
Well, I want to get the knock. I want there to be a no-knock solution.
And you can order one of those springs. Do you still have an Amp Pro at home?
I do.
Okay, so
I do. I still have the mastery spring in mind.
you can order one of those springs and you can test it for yourself and figure out what that knock is.
See if there's a knock for me.
But yeah, I'm really happy with that.
It works so well. I can't tell you how well it feels. How well it feels? It feels well.
I had lost hope so many times looking for springs because I've been working on this for like 2 months. Like it's been my pet project trying to find springs.
I walk this lonely street. I can't find a better Amp spring. Oh, it's so good.
I love it. Is that it? Is that the video? Did we do it?
We solved the problem. You're welcome, Fender.
So huge thanks to the sponsors of Guitar House. Thanks for bringing us all together here. They paid for travel expenses, food expenses. They provided a lot of gear. We're talking Sweetwater.
I drank 2 sodas.
We were talking Daddario, however you want to pronounce
Daddario.
it. We're talking Chase Bliss Audio. We're talking Big Ear Pedals. Those 4 companies helped this whole event happen. So huge thanks to them. Click the links down below to support them. And go check out all the other channels that are here. 60 Cycle Hum, because we're on Pusheen right now on Mike Adams. We've got Working Class Music here. We have Get Offset. We have Perfecto. Sean Pierce Johnson's out there. Telly Talks is out there.
Teddy Chalks.
Did I miss anyone? I'm going to feel terrible if I miss someone.
I'm so tired. I don't remember.
The list will be in the description.
You're here.
3, 2, 1.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Guitar House. 3,
2, 1.
Guitar House. The camera was in the shot. 3, 2.
No, he wants it for his shot.
Whoa, we want it for our shot.
Okay.
3, 2,
1.
Guitar House. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're out of here.
Next time on Guitar House.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't call this purple. Okay, there's a lot more purple to this.
I honestly don't know what's happening.
We're all camera-loving narcissists around here. I knew it was going to turn out just fine.
Is there gonna be a blooper reel? That's what